Good morning. So I'm Jussi, the CEO and co-founder of an awesome Finnish company called Nitro Games. We've been here in these events before, and I see few faces that I've seen earlier. So for those of you, you will get an update on how we're progressing, and for those who don't yet to know us, you will get an overview of what is it that we're doing. Overall, life's very good at Nitro Games. As he pointed out, a lot action. Our basically mentality after this summer season this year has been all about boom, boom, boom execution and delivering on new things. Let's have a look-see at how we're doing and what we're up to. Firstly, a little bit about what's happening on the mobile game market. We've been talking about this thing earlier as well, but there's a couple of interesting things going on, and it looks like some of the things we predicted earlier are now also actually happening, which is very good for us at Nitro Games. So overall, the mobile games market is forecasted to reach the $70 billion size very soon. And what we're looking at in here is the top crossing charts from the United States on iPhone. And what that means is basically the amount of revenue that these games make on that particular day. So revenue per one day. And a couple of sort of magic words going on at the moment in the mobile games business are competitive multiplayer. That's no new thing. It's been going on for almost 2 years now already. That's what our strategy is built on, delivering competitive multiplayer experiences on mobile phones. Then we have things called team-based gameplay and esports on mobile. Those are upcoming future trends. And how this reflects on the market at today is that they're on number 1 position. We have a game called Fortnite, which if you read any news about the mobile games industry, you have heard about the game. They are the market-leading game. It's basically a PC game translated onto mobile devices and doing really well at the moment. However, that's not all. If you look at the sort of lower positions on the list on the market, like position 124, this game called War Robots, that's also a multiplayer game, team-based multiplayer game. They're making $36,000 on a day, at least on that particular day. So these things are happening right now. This genre is getting more and more mature, and it's entering the mobile games market. And that's good for us because that's just what we do. We started with our new strategy in beginning of 2017, and the strategy was built on the premise of making competitive multiplayer on mobile. So for guys like me, people who love to play with these things, we want to deliver them experiences where they can play another human being in real time with games that make them anxious, games that feed their competitive nature, games that make them want to spend their free time together with this phone. And these are our ongoing product portfolios. And something worth mentioning in here is that we have been moving from this type of 1 versus 1 player games, such as Medals of War here, more and more towards the team-based multiplayer. This is from our latest upcoming release called Heroes of Warland, where 4 people play against 4 people in real time with a mobile phone. And this all is made possible thanks to our very experienced team. With Nitro Games, we're looking at more than 10 years of experience in this business. We started on PC, we've done some console, but last 5 years we've focused exclusively on mobile. So when it comes to developing games, we know what we're doing. That's not all. We're, as you can count from the picture, we're close to 60 people now, not exactly there, but close. This is a small company, considering the fact that we are working on 4 projects at the moment. That's pretty unheard of and unseen in this category, especially when you look at the production value of the projects we work on. They're very high-end mobile games. And this is how we're able to do them. We combine our technology, we call Nitro Games Platform, which allows us to develop things fast and reuse same components from one production to another, while from a consumer point of view, the experience looks very much different. Then we utilize the experienced team, the technology, through what we call MVP process. It started as minimum valuable product process, but nowadays we call it most value for player process, because the whole point of that is making sure that we measure in real time during game development what works and what doesn't. That's our whole mentality. We want to have those people involved from the very get-go, developing those games together with us. And that gives us the ability to have a scalable development model. We don't need to increase the headcount that much when we expand the production, and that's very good. As I mentioned, we started with our new strategy in beginning of 2017, and despite the complicated picture there on a screen, this is actually super straightforward. We have the team, very experienced team, one of the oldest game companies in Finland. We have our unique technology that we have been developing for more than 5 years now. We combine those with a creative process, and through these, we're able to deliver two things. We have two business areas. One is where we build a portfolio of games based on our own IP. That's our opportunities for hockey sticks. That's the high risk, high reward thing for Nitro games. While at the same time, we use these same assets by providing services to some of the biggest companies in industry. We call this our service business, where we operate with the major companies in mobile gaming and deliver mobile games for them. And that's how we get short-term revenues. And through these activities, we're seeking growth. We're very much a growth company, only in the very beginning with our new strategy. We've been executing that for a little bit more than a year and a half now. And what we're seeking to growth is user base, revenues, and the recognition for Nitro games. And this is how we ultimately deliver value to our shareholders. So we build growth, and that's how we seek value. How this translates to revenues, this is the first half of this year. We again saw increase in the revenues. This was the first time when we actually exceeded 1 million euros in revenues over a period of 6 months. But this is us just getting started. If you look at things, let's say 1 year back from now, we were at a position where we were working on one thing. We had not done any launches with the new strategy yet. We were still in the very much starting point. Now, if you look at Nitro games today, we have expanded that by building more products, made more deals, more games, which we are busy launching during the second half of this year. So that puts us to a very exciting position right now in Nitro games. We have all these things we've been working on since last year that have been brewing in launch mode towards the end of this year. And that's why it's so exciting to be here talking about Nitro games. Because what we're looking moving forward is us delivering with all these titles. Let's have a look. On the self-publishing side, we operate in a way that those countries that are colored orange on the map, those are countries and territories where we self-publish. What that means is basically that we take our games directly to the end customer through either Apple iTunes App Store, if the customer has an iPhone, or through Google Play, if he or she has an Android phone. Simple as that. These stores take 30% of the end user revenues, and then that's it. The rest is ours. This also means that we need to invest funds, not just into development of the game software, but in servicing the customers, providing them constantly with updates and so on, as well as marketing. Marketing is often called as user acquisition or some other terms in this business, but that basically means growing your game by acquiring more customers. Those gray colors signal countries where we do not seek to self-publish, at least not yet. Those are countries where you have unique cultures, you might have unique storefronts, all sorts of things that require careful localization. So we enter those markets through some of our key partners. For example, Medals of War is being brought to the Middle East and Africa region through Netmarble, who are, I believe, world's 6th biggest publisher at the moment. Then on the service business side, where I explained we utilize our technology team and the process, we are working with wargaming. This is something we started a little bit more than a year ago. And 1 year ago, we were in a phase where we were developing a game for them, against them paying fees for us to get the game done. Right now, that's done. We moved forward to what is called launching of the game. We are right now in a mode called soft launch, which means the game is available on certain test markets while it's being finalized for the actual commercial launch. And during this point, we still get paid and once the game goes into commercial launch, we also have this thing called profit share included there. That means basically that we have just turned our consulting business or work for hire or service business, however you want to call it, from fixed revenues based on headcount into scalable revenues with a company that just happens to be one of the biggest in this industry. Again, that's one of the exciting things going on right now. If we look at the self-publishing side, what we've been up to with Medals of War, this is the version that we self-publish in those countries colored orange in the previous map. That's the version that Netmarble is launching in the gray-colored countries. These games don't exactly look like each other. There's a lot of similarities under the hood. They run the same, but there's different characters, different localized things going on in the games. On the Western side, this is how we basically measure our progress. So on a month-by-month basis, we optimize our marketing and user acquisition efforts. And we measure those with cost per install, how much we need to pay money to get a single download. You can see the development of that during especially second quarter, it has increased. Why is that? Because we have expanded our marketing into investing into more valuable customers. Customers who are more specifically targeted. Customers who we believe will bring in more revenue, while we have been at the same time optimizing the game forward. And that's what we have seen. So during the last couple of months, our conversion rate, which describes how a single download converts into a paying customer. We are working with this free-to-play model, which means that most of our players never pay anything. It's a small fraction that pays. This number we have been able to increase, while at the same time increasing the so-called monetization of the game. And those are the key things in our business and in our success in this self-publishing business. We need to be able to systematically, through our process, increase the monetization, which basically translates to the average revenue you make per single download, in this case over a period of 30 days. And you need to do that without the cost per install getting too high. And this is a process where we are delighted about the progress that we made during the second quarter and overall during the first half of this year. Now, after first half, Netmarble launched the version in the markets, so in the Middle East and Africa. So that game is now live. What we're going to do next is continue optimizing the game and seek for that scalability where we can see these two vectors meeting and us being able to do profitable marketing in large scale. And that's our next step and the direction where we're going with this. Then, this is not all. New stuff. Let's have a look. This one's called Heroes of Warland. It's our upcoming new game. And despite the audio issues that we saw, that's not supposed to be there, it's actually a loud game. It's an action game. It's a team-based shooter on mobile, something that we haven't seen on mobile yet. And what makes this thing so unique is the fact that this is basically the first time that we're bringing these experiences to mobile that have previously been available on PC. What this means is that we have a hero-based shooter. Basically, we have all these cool characters that you just saw in the video on your mobile screen. You have 4 people in a team against another 4. That creates the basis for esports on mobile through a competitive multiplayer. And what we're doing with this game at the moment is something that we know a lot of other companies are looking into. But thanks to the technology that we have, the process that we have, the team that we have, we can meet the time to market faster than several ones of those. So this one's scheduled for launch still during this year. It's right now in this thing called soft launch, so available on selected test markets, available for early access customers to try out the game and give us feedback. And when talking about the launch, this is something where we've innovated something really new. I told you earlier that the marketing is the key thing in the success of self-publishing or the publishing of any title on mobile. With Heroes of Warland, we've created a whole new type of launch strategy. So in addition to the user acquisition, which I explained earlier, like we've done with Medals of War, with this one we're doing things boom, boom, boom. Something new, something big from the get-go in the launch. We have teamed up with this esports production house called Gaming Zone Entertainment. And together with them, we are producing a reality show. But not just any reality show. Participating in that reality show, we have the best players from the esports business. We have announced the first 4. Those of you who have watched any of these esports things might recognize some names there. And there will be 12 of these guys. We put them into one place for a week in Åre. No more details yet about that, but soon. And what they will do is you have all these stars from all these other games who have their background on PC and stuff. People with millions of followers. They come to this one location to play Heroes of Warland. It's a new game for everybody. Imagine if you had all the different sports stars from hockey and racing and, I don't know, gymnastics or whatever. And you give them a new sport to play in. All of these guys are top of their class in their own sport, but you give them something new. So it's a fair ground for all of those. And then we make reality TV fun out of that, which means that you have the typical things like product placement, sponsors, things like that going on, which creates additional revenue streams in addition to what the game can make. But in the heart of it all, we put it out in connection with the game launch, which means this insanely big visibility during the game launch for all the followers of these people. This will be broadcasted in traditional TV. It will be broadcasted through online media, Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, all those things. Plus through all the social medias where these guys have followers. And with that angle, we feel that we are able to make the launch of Heroes of Warland something truly unique. Something bigger than what we've ever done before. Which puts us into a position where we have a unique type of new game that is a perfect match for what's happening in this market right now. Plus, we feel we have found a way to create a unique new angle into marketing and launching the game. So to basically wrap things up, I mentioned earlier that 1 year ago, we were in a position where we had started executing our new strategy. We had listed here in Stockholm in June last year. But we basically still had nothing. We had development going on with wargaming and we were busy creating Medals of War. Fast forward 1 year from that, this one's launched. This one's now launched. We're looking at taking Medals of War to Asia. Also Netmobile has the right of first refusal with that one. So we're progressing forward with these titles, basically games as a service that we continuously develop and optimize further. Then we have Heroes of Warland. The awesome thing, the loud thing that you just saw, which is coming still during this year. Then with wargaming, we have further developed the cooperation and the business from consulting and work for hire into something where we are seeking scalable revenues once the game goes into commercial launch. And this is exactly what our strategy is about. Building more revenue streams in a scalable fashion without increasing the team size or the cost structure of the company too much. We will keep investing in the marketing moving forward. We will keep investing in the new product development moving forward. But this is the setup, how we're doing it. And this is how we intend to deliver more growth, more value for our shareholders. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
Har vi några frågor? Ja, ett ögonblick.
English, please. My svenska is ganska dåligt.
Can you give us some numbers on the early access of this new game?
Unfortunately, not yet.
Okej, vi har ytterligare en fråga här.
Before, it was quite complicated to download the games because it took some time. What timeline do you have for downloading your games, the new games now?
Yes, so basically when we do these mobile games, we build them in a way where we optimize the download size. So any of the games that we put out there, you can download over the sort of cellular network, so you don't even need to have access to Wi-Fi. So when you have a mobile phone, you're on the go, you're walking from this show to a lunch place, you can download our game while you're working. Depending on where you are, it might take 1 minute, 2 minutes, something like that, but not long.
Okay, we have another question here.
I didn't get the figures correctly. You had a slide showing that the acquisition cost was $4.73.
Yeah.
And then you had the conversion per download, which was $0.32. Per what time entity?
Okay, can we go back to that slide?
Is that per month?
Yeah, I'll show you just now.
Because then it takes 15 months or so to get the acquisition cost repaid. Is that it?
This is the slide that you're referring to, right? Yeah. So let's go through this one more time. So typically in this free-to-play business, when companies invest into marketing, they expect the returns anywhere from 12 to 18 months. Some companies might have the type of game where they get to see the returns already during first 6 months, but typically it's more or less 1 year that you're looking at. But the beauty of that is that thanks to the analytics, you know that you're able to forecast and you're able to foresee those revenues come back, which means you can reinvest into marketing. What we're looking into here is that you have those black bars and then you have those orange bars over there. Those orange bars describe the user acquisition cost for the US market, so US. And those black bars describe it for the Western market, so basically everything else where we self-publish. And how we do these things in practice is that our marketing is a mix of these two. United States is important for us because that's where you typically get the most valuable customers on average. Those people are easier to convert into paying customers and they tend to pay more. But we support that by getting users from other countries, such as say Latin American markets, where you can get more volume on a cheaper price, but then they don't necessarily return that much funds. So it's always going to be a combination of these. If you look at this conversion rate, this describes basically the conversion to paying customer, that all those months, what percentage of those downloads converted into a paying customer during that month. And then when it translates to monetization, this bar, these are all US numbers because that's our target market at the moment. So the orange one means that what's the average revenue per daily active user in that market on that month. And this describes basically how much money we make per single download every single day on average, which at the moment there it's closer to 40 cents. And this describes how much money we make on average for a period of 30 days. So basically, in order for the customers to return the user acquisition cost over a period of lifetime, this, if it stays constant, you should multiply this with 2 or 3, and then you get to that number.
Okay. Should we go give it a try, Ulf, to see if more questions? Okay.
Keep on coming.
Keep on coming. Do we have a few more questions before, as long as Ulf is trying to get the video working here? Yes, we have one more here, please.
I don't want to repeat myself, but the market, the black market there on the Asia and the Saudi that you have in the Middle East, when are you forecast to kind of revenue there? Is it 1 year ahead or 2 years? Do you have any kind of...
Yeah, so those markets are something that we don't have like a exact time slot for those. but it's like not 1 year from now, but less than that. That's the sort of timetable. So basically, we've now launched the game first in the Western markets, then we went into the Middle East and Africa region, and the plan is to go to Asia next. So that's the order of things.